Hey guys, Adrian here today with an iPhone 4 screen repair guide. Now this is brought to you by the guys at directfix.com. Head over there to get your parts for your iPhone 4 if you've cracked your screen. Now, I cracked my screen a couple days ago, or when I was doing this video anyways, and DirectFix was kind enough to send along some parts to repair the phone and show you guys how to do it, a little bit step-by-step guide. Now, when you crack your phone or you crack your iPhone 4 in particular, the iPhone 4 isn't like the previous phones where there's multiple, like a digitizer and an LCD separate. They're all fused into one with this new Retina display. So a few things you're going to need. You're going to need obviously the screen, you're going to need the tools, and the main two tools I used were the Phillips screwdriver and the cable spudger tool. If you may have some of these laying around if you've done any previous repairs, I happen to have a lot of these tools laying around because I used to repair a couple other phones. And of course the screen itself I have here again from directfix.com. Now, beforehand reviewing, you're gonna want repairing, you're gonna want to take out your SIM card slot and you're gonna want to power down the phone. So you may need your SIM removal tool or like a thumbtack or something to remove the SIM and the tray. And you may need, or actually I'm gonna go ahead and highly recommend you use something like a paper bowls as I have in the background here, or even an ice cube tray is a really helpful thing to separate your screws, because when you're putting stuff back, screws are really hard to remember where they went, and you need to be very specific for some of these screws, otherwise they can do stuff like crack into the motherboard or crack into your LCD screen and stuff like that. So with that, let's get into the repair. Alright, so step one, you're going to remove those two screws at the bottom of your iPhone. This will allow you to open up the back plate to get into your internals. So you're just going to take the screwdriver and go ahead and take those two screws out, and then you'll be able to slide the back plate right off. Alright, so once you have those two screws removed, like I said, just slide this back plate right off. It should slide right up. This will reveal the battery and the motherboard, which is under all of this, that you're gonna want to take apart, obviously, to get to the screen. Now, first things first, you're gonna have a screw right here holding the battery ribbon cable down. You're gonna want to remove that screw so that you can lift the ribbon cable up and then proceed to take the battery out. Alright, after you have that ribbon cable removed, what you're going to want to do is get this battery out. Now, as you see there, and you can see the difference, I ripped the little tab off that way you're supposed to use to pull off the battery. Now, the mistake I made is this is the first time I ever touched my iPhone 4 internal-wise, so what you have to do is you have to use that spudger tool, or you can use a screwdriver. Just run along the edges of the battery. As you can see here, it's adhesive, it's stuck, it's glued all the way around the border to that metal sheet. As you can see there, you can see that glue starting to tear off on the edge. So, when I was, I edited the part out, but I actually had to go around the battery with that spudger tool to remove the glue, and that's what caused me to tear that little tab off that had the Apple warranty sticker thing on it. So, do note to take your, a screwdriver or something flat edge and kind of just gently go around the corners, and you'll hear the glue start to peel off, and you can see the residue marks right there, and after that, the battery should just come out easily. Now, right after that, you have this black chassis, or kind of like a sheet here that's holding off all the ports on the motherboard, so it's covering it all. You're going to want to take these off, and you're going to want to take note of all these screws and where they belong, so I highly recommend you separate them, maybe even label them, because if you repair this when you're closing it back and you put these in the wrong place, it could cause damage to the phone. So go ahead and take all of these screws out, and this should allow you to see the six connectors on the motherboard. So once it's off, you can see here, these are all the connections, the camera, the display, and various other things that are connected. Next thing you're going to want to do is take off the sound module so you can take off the speakers. So what you want to do is unscrew these two screws right here that also have a cover plate that you want to hold on to as well. So just unscrew these two screws right here, and this will allow you to have access to a ribbon cable, which will then be holding, so you can unplug that and then take the speakers out. So as I go along here, I just take out these two screws, and they should just come out easily. And it's just a simple plate that comes with that black plate, should just slide right off after you get both screws out. So just hold on to that little black plate, and hold that on for when you're reassembling the whole iPhone. Next, use your spider tool or your finger even to kind of pry open the ribbon cable. It's going to be a little bit tough, but it may feel like it's going to break, but don't worry. Just add a little bit of force and work around, edge your way around it, and the ribbon cable should just come right out. And once you get that out, you should be able to just pull along the edge and pull the adhesive off so that you have access to the screw holding down the motherboard. So you can see here it kind of takes a little bit of trial and error, but eventually I get the ribbon cable loose and off. Alright, now once it's open, like I said, just pull down gently. Don't pull down too hard, even though there is a glue adhesive holding the cable down. Just pull down and it'll reveal a hidden screw kind of in the bottom left, right at the end of the cable here. So you can just take the tool and go along, and you'll see the screw that's actually holding the corner of the motherboard down right there in that little gold spot right there. It has a little indicator so you can see where it is. The next thing you want to do before you actually take off the motherboard is you want to get that vibrator switch out the way. That way it's easier to take apart the motherboard and disconnect everything. So the vibrator switch, or the mute switch right up top there, this is just held together by two tiny screws. Just go ahead and unscrew that, and you should have the vibrator switch right out, and proceed to the motherboard. After you have that out, you can take each of these connectors out. Gently use a spider tool again, or your fingernail, or even a flat screwdriver to simply pry these these little ribbon cables right out the socket. This also houses the camera, which you're gonna want to unplug as well and take out to use for later on when you're actually reassemble the whole iPhone. So these three should come off fairly easy. Along with this also holds the digitizer cable for the LCD, which you're also going to be replacing later on, which we're going to show you. Now, the last one again on the far left is the camera. It's held. It's just a small ribbon cable at the very bottom of it. You can barely see it at first. You don't even notice it's there. And you just want to pry it out again using your spider tool, as you see here. And after that, the camera should just come loose, and you can set that aside. Now that you got the camera out and the motherboard ports Alright, so you're gonna the second screw is right there, has a little white circle on it. This is a water sensor, so that Apple knows if you drop your phone in water, so they know you get to get repaired. You just want to take that sticker off. You can put it back later if you want still. I just took mine off, and then that will reveal the other screw that you want to take off, and you should be able to loosen your motherboard right after that. After that, you should be able to wiggle the motherboard out. Now you do want to make sure you don't get any cables caught, and you slowly want to do this so you don't snap the motherboard or snap any cables out. You kind of want to move them out the way. And you work with both hands here, and you want to make sure you just get everything out the way, and then it should just come out just like that. It's a little L-shaped bracket here for the motherboard. You obviously want to set that aside, make sure that doesn't get damaged. Next up is one of the most important parts. You want to remove the frame, the bezel of the LCD, so you can get to the LCD and digitizer here. Now there's these screws right here that I'm showing you around. There's I think about 10 of them around the main frame. There's about 1 in each corner, and I think 3 along the side. So that's 4 corners and 3 along the side. Now 3 of them I think all of them have washers, or maybe 6 of them with washers. I'm not positive. I'll show up the graphic here in a second. You're going to want to keep these washers because they keep friction between the case and the screen itself. So if you know, as much as you can, try not to lose them. I wasn't working in the perfect environment, but my tip to you guys, obviously, like I said, use a nice cube tray or something to keep track of your parts. So remove these washers. They are a little bit of a pain to take out and put back in once you're reassembling it, but it's all worth it, and this will loosen the screen so that you can simply use the spudger tool to pry it out. Alright, once you got all those washers and screws out, what you want to do is you want to take your spudger tool and go along the edges here, as I showed, and all those corners, these little pieces will pop right out. Now, if you're taking off a broken screen like I was, the reason I had to cut is to actually remove some of the broken glass, so that it wasn't an issue for me when I was like removing it off, because obviously when I started to remove the frame, the glass started, where it was broken and bent off, and you can see the top half broke off there. So do be careful, especially if you have a broken glass, or the screen on top is broken, because shards will be flying out as you start to remove this frame with the spudger tool. So again, just gently, just keep on going around the edge of the frame where the metal meets the black bezel of the screen, and just keep on going around it, and eventually with all those screws out, the thing should just pop out. If you can't get it out, make sure you have all screws out of all those 10 screws along with the washers and everything. Just keep on going around until you pop everything out, and the home button should stay in place. You just want to make sure you don't want to pull that out. I mean, you can always put it back or reassemble it, but just keep on going until your whole screen, as you see here, is off like so. You can see the reflection there. So you just want to make sure you take that out. Now you want to get your new screen prepped. Here's my new screen for my iPhone 4. Now this is an important part here, so you're going to pay attention, and you want to make sure that you slide these cables specifically through this square, and I'll also pop up a graphic here so you can see this, but you want to make sure you get both the digitizer cable, the two cables that come on your new screen, and both of them are going to be going through this square as I show you right here. As you pull through, you just want to close the case. As you close the case, you want to make sure you route those cables through the big square, and you'll notice it. You'll see the big square, and then obviously you can see they'll fit because on the other side they're going to attach to the motherboard. But you're going to want to make sure both cables are fully through. Try not to tug as hard on these cables because these cables are very, very fragile and can break easily, so do be gentle. And you want to make sure you unfold the whole cable, that way you get the right amount of leeway so it can reach on the motherboard. You may have to do some trial and error here. Do be careful with decabling, with routing the cable, I should say. After that, it's all basically reassembly. You want to take all those washers and those screws and insert them all around the four corners again, along with the 3 on each left and right side. And again, make sure those cables are in perfectly. That's before you screw in the chassis, you may even want to plug the motherboard back in and make sure that they can reach the specific ports. And you can see, because it's kind of just like shape coordinated. If it fits in the shape, then that's about the right size. Then that's the port. So again, just reassemble and make sure you have all the screws and make sure you know where each one goes, and just do the same thing but backward. And again, here's another example here. I actually want to show you guys the actual square I was talking about when you're routing the cable. So this is a previous clip before I actually closed the screen. I redid it just to show you guys here. These two cables, this is very, very important that you get them through that little square, that big square right there, that space, and make sure you get all of the cable through there. That way, when you're, if anything's stuck when it's closed, that it doesn't rip or tear or anything like that. You want to make sure the full cable is through there, and it should slide easily. You just have to push this to the top, just like that, and make sure all the corners meet, because there's little clips I will insert to each 4 corners. You can see there's clips right there, and you can just get those cables through and make sure kind of do a tiny tug on it, so you can see there that it's fully through both cables, and they should be able to reach the motherboard. And all these clips are just sped up to show you. It's basically the reassembly process. What you want to do is put the motherboard back in, like I showed you earlier, and screw it all down, and then insert all the cables back in. They should be fit. Like again, they're aligned. You get the digitizer cable along with the LCD cable in there. Screw in all the screws. You want to put those covers back in, along with the. Don't forget to take the audio cable and put that in as well, and all of that. Jazz, everything that you disassembled, basically you're going to be reassembling. So with that, you can just watch this, and this is kind of sped up for time purposes in the video, And after that, we're going to test out the phone and see if it works. And again, you can always refer to how you disassemble it to see how to reassemble it. It's basically everything's the same. Just put it back, and I'll include some pictures here if you need, a reference. And you can see there I'm pointing out where everything goes, like the camera and stuff like that. Everything's pretty much self-explanatory. Everything just fits from here on out. I think it's pretty easy from here. Just, don't rip any cables or anything like that. Just make sure you have all your screws. After all of that, you want to slide the back case back on like so. Make sure you slide it in, put those bottom screws in, and yeah, like I said, you want to insert those 2 screws, which I haven't done just because I'm going to do a power on test to make sure everything is working. That's probably something you want to do as well. Make sure you test everything, make sure everything is working, like your microphone, speakers, etc. So after that, you want to put your SIM card in, and go ahead and turn the phone on. So I'm going to remove the plastic off the case, or new screen. Go ahead and power it on, and success, we have an Apple logo. So this is the repair, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm going to go ahead and skip this part so you guys can see the part when I actually get the phone powered on. And here it is, and I slide to unlock, everything works fine. And this is just because I actually, when I was doing the screws, I accidentally didn't put the SIM card in. I had to actually reinsert the SIM card. Like it wasn't fully in when I was booting up the phone. I inserted the tray and I had to fix that. So you do want to make sure, again, all your screws are solidly in, because you don't want anything loose in there. Like you don't want the SIM card not being red or anything like that, because I had to go back into the phone to fix that. But anyways, it was working. Everything's fine now. My phone works great. New screen works just like the original screen, even if it's not official OEM parts, and it looks great. So thumbs up, guys. Great parts from directfix.com. And I try to get my thumb into frame here. Anyways, directfix.com, great guys. They provide you the parts, they provide you tutorials, they give you a link to their PDF and how to do everything step by step. As if this guide doesn't help you, then they have a great guide as well. So do check it out here. And again, this last thing here is just an overview of how to get those panels back in. If you're wondering how it should look like once you close everything up, that's how the panels, where they should go and everything like that. So guys, again, thanks a lot for watching this video. I know it's a long-winded video, but I hope you get your iPhone repaired. Do head over to directfix.com for your parts, for your iPhone, for your iPod touches, for your repair tools, accessories, and more over at directfix.com. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe.